obviously the food was very different as well. From the food that we're used to in Nigeria to the food that, you can get to Nigerian food here, but our dad wasn't into Nigerian food necessarily. So the good food was more at weekends when aunties or uncles came round. So many things, everything was just different. I guess the one thing I would say about Nigeria, the experience of being a Nigerian that helped here is the school, the schooling. We felt like we were ahead of the kids here in terms of reading, writing, comprehension. Which now I look back, it makes sense. When I look on LinkedIn now, for example, nearly every Nigerian I meet on LinkedIn is a content writer. I'm like, I know why you can all write good English because you've had good schooling in Nigeria where you have to learn. Here it's much more voluntary. It's much more, this, you have exams when you're 16. In Nigeria, you have exams every year. And if you don't pass your exam in Nigeria, you don't go up to next year. Whereas in England, you just fly through education, whether you pass or not, until you get to 16, and then 18, and then you're out of school. And if you pass, if you're clever, you're good. If you're not, then you're in trouble. It's a weird experience, but it's life we've lived and got us this far. So far, so good.
All right. Thank you so much for that. Actually, there could have been a lot of things I would like to drill down
I'm
there,
sure.
but that would be for another day because
Now,
I want to spend some
look,
time.
bring me back another day. I happily talk to you about the experience. I really will. I'm cool with that.
All right, that's great. Fantastic. Fantastic. All right. Now we are in the UK. You have grown up. You are a man now, no?
I
You
think
have
so. I think I'm on I'm on the wrong side of youth. The wrong side.
what do you mean by that?
I'm not going to live forever, so it's hard to sort of work out when your time will expire.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not 50 yet, so that's why I'm still on the good side, within reason. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm not, I won't call myself young.
All right.
People might do, but I think I'm nearer the other side than the young side.
Are you happy about that or not?
Yeah, no, I'm cool. It's one is a fact.
Mm-hmm.
Two, I've had a glorious life. If I died tomorrow, I would be genuinely happy. I think life's about living and achieving your goals. And most of the things I wanted, I've achieved. It's a strange thing to say, So I can say that honestly, and be happy with my lot. I got a wonderful family. So I got kids, I got grandkids. That's I got a sister. And I got nephews. So I got a life that I dreamt of when I was a kid. That's the amazing thing, So I dreamt of a life that I wanted, and I managed to live it. It hasn't been easy. Don't get me wrong, but I'm literally as happy as with my life as I could. Things could be better in some places, of course they could. But am I happy? Yes, I really am. I'm. You know, I've been lucky.
All right. That's great. Not many people are.
I know. I know.
but it's okay. You are happy. Sometimes we are also as happy as we want to be, as we make up our minds to be.
Yeah.
Because happiness, of course, now it depends on what we make out of it.
Yeah.
All right.
That's,
I leave
that's,
I leave that there.
I think that's such an important point, and they shouldn't let it go. That's why I'm sticking to it for a second. Happiness is it's in your soul. It's in your mind. Yeah, if you choose to live in regret, we can all do that. But if you choose to live in joy, I think it's your choice, and you can't just flip a switch and decide. No, I think the way I look at it is this: every day I'm alive, I'm grateful. And the fact that I've lived the life I have, it's a blessing. There are people who have much worse, a lot worse. I'm not saying I am settling. I'm not settling. I have a genuinely good life. I drive a Merc. I live in I own my houses. I own my house, and I've got assets. I've got income. I've got a business that I run, which helps people. What more does a man want?
Thank you so much for that, Eny. Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate that. Now, let's get into business. You're a marketer. You do marketing strategy for small businesses.
Yeah.
Now, first thing first, how did you get into business? Let me understand that.
Okay. I think I started my first company in Nigeria. Strange that when I was a kid. I'm told that I was trying to sell sweets for profit, so buy sweets from the shop and try and sell it to other kids for more money, and then you try and sell fruit apparently. So where I started my business, in terms of my business mindset at least. And then when we came here, I guess I was more about school. I think one of the lessons I learned very early in life is, you know, concentrating on the schoolwork, pass your education early, and don't worry about girls. Because if you don't pass, if you are, if you lived a good life as a kid, when you get to adulthood, the girls will leave you when you have no money. And I took that to heart. So literally, I was a very good student. And the whole thing was trying to just learn. It turned out, I was fortunate. I got a degree, and I got a master's. Then I got to that stage where, when you're about to finish your education, you have to think, where am I going to work? So, I'd had petty jobs, doing shop work, for example. So it was a case of, I don't want to work in shops forever. I did some building work as well as a laborer. And if you ever do building work, construction, it's hard. It's hard work. And, and in England, it's fine in summer. In winter, it's cold because you're out there all day, every day. Literally all day, every day, right? So I just knew I didn't want to be doing that such manual labor. So going to school was the only way. So, that's why I got my master's. And then, when it came to looking for a job, I came across on the note. I think it was on a notice board. There was an advert for an internet company. I think 3 days a week. I didn't have a clue what the internet was. I had never heard of the internet at all. I had a computer, right? But it was literally a word processor. So when I saw this internet, company, I thought, okay, let me try. It can't hurt. Let me go and see what it is. Lo and behold, I got the job. Suddenly, I've realized that it's one of the first 5,000 internet companies in the UK. And suddenly, I was into the internet world, the online marketing world. And my role, again, it goes back to my point earlier about learning how to write and comprehension in Nigeria. So now I was writing content for managers and for the internet, managing a team who wrote content. So literally, I just got dropped into it. So suddenly I was, creating content using the skills I had, and then discovering this internet world. See, the weird thing about, working for that company, and I loved it there, by the way. There was only, it was a very new startup. Right? Now, the thing that I learned very quickly, is that everyone on the internet knows everyone because it was such a small ecosystem. And everyone, literally, if you can look at a website, find someone's name, and just call them because there's only 5,000 companies, so there's not many of us email pretty much online. Yeah, and then I guess there was a lot of aspiration. I remember, I wrote many blogs. I wrote blogs about where the internet was going. So this whole dream of democracy of the internet is going to make everything equal amongst small companies. I remember writing blogs about the mobile phones, because there were phones just about coming out there, just about. So how the phone was going to be the bigger computer than the rocket that took people to the moon, right? You know, so you're writing these sort of things. You're thinking, how can it be? How can this phone ever be that amazing? How can it be? How can we live on our phones? But that was what I was reading in those days, and I believed it. But I have to say, I'm totally shocked where we are. How tech has moved forward to actually become reality. I am amazed. So that was my journey into online marketing.